The best song of all time is mostly forgotten today. When you ask 20 people to name the best song ever, they're likely going to be 20 different answers. That's why a great piece of music is so special. It can move an individual in ways that surpass what anyone else may think about it. With this in mind, we set out on a quest to create a collection of the most iconic songs ever by taking into account both professional critics and fans' thoughts. Gasolina, Daddy Yankee. Daddy Yankee's Puerto Rican rap was an infectious phrase that infiltrated the hearts of listeners with its playful words, "Acá mija como te gusta la gasolina." His question to young women regarding their desire for a flashy ride to the party became a widespread chorus that sparked immense international interest in reggaeton. Daddy Yankee exudes such intensity through his verses on this track as if it could cause an explosion. All Along the Watchtower, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. The ranker community voted All Along the Watchtower, written by Bob Dylan, as the fourth greatest song of all time. The single was first included on Dylan's 1967 album, John Wesley Harding, and later covered by Jimi Hendrix for his Electric Ladyland record in 1968. Amazingly enough, it became a top 20 hit that same year. Rolling Stone magazine then took notice and listed the classic rendition at 47th place on its list of greatest songs ever. Many other artists have since followed suit with their own renditions, including Neil Young, U2, and Eddie Vedder, solidifying its standing as one of music's most timeless works. What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye's iconic What's Going On anthem, initially disregarded as a non-commercial hit in 1971, defied expectations by scaling the Billboard Hot 100 and becoming one of his most successful Motown songs. Rolling Stone declared it as an exquisite plea for peace on earth, while ranking fourth in their list of greatest songs ever written. The Guardian applauds this influential, chart-dominating track that was powerfully delivered through Marvin Gaye's voice and has resonated with millions worldwide. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin's iconic Stairway to Heaven continues to reign as a fan favorite, ranking 7th among rankers' all-time greatest songs. Not only did Planet Rock readers award it the title of the greatest song of all time, but Stairway to Heaven also managed to garner more than twice its closest rival in UK's favorite rock anthem poll results. Although never released commercially as a single in the US, Led Zeppelin's devoted fan base powered radio play requests and made it one of FM stations' most requested songs during the 1970s, displaying this timeless classic's extraordinary staying power. Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's 1965 single, Like a Rolling Stone, has been proclaimed by Rolling Stone as the best track ever, lauded for its ability to revolutionize popular music and transform the commercial regulations of that era. Though it was longer than most songs at 6 minutes 13 seconds, radio stations were hesitant to air it. Yet despite this obstacle, and with little marketing or promotion behind it, it still became an international sensation, reaching number 2 on Billboard Hot 100. It's no wonder why countless musicians have covered Like a Rolling Stone, from the Jimi Hendrix Experience all the way to Green Day. Timeless classic. Boasting the highest ratings from a review aggregator, Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan is indisputably recognized as one of history's greatest songs. In 2014, its handwritten lyrics were auctioned off for an astonishing $2 million, setting a world record for pop music manuscripts. God Only Knows, The Beach Boys. Ranked 25th by Rolling Stone, 19th by the ranker community, recognized as one of the 500 songs that changed rock and roll history from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, praised as the greatest song of the 1960s by Pitchfork Media, God Only Knows was definitely not a chartbuster. It was rather used as a B-side for Wouldn't It Be Nice in America. Regardless, this classic Beach Boys track is still an all-time favorite among fans. To prove its worthiness in today's world, in 2018, Rolling Stone readers voted it their best Beach Boys song ever. No surprise, considering Paul McCartney has declared it his favorite tune with no hesitation whatsoever. Blowin' in the Wind, Bob Dylan. Boasting its status as Dylan's first seminal composition and the most renowned protest song of all time, It's astonishing that Bob Dylan never charted for his iconic anthem, Blowin' in the Wind. Nevertheless, this timeless classic was popularized by Peter, Paul, and Mary when they released their version in 1963. The magnitude of this remarkable track has been further cemented with its induction in the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1994 and inclusion on Rolling Stone's Greatest Songs list at a formidable number 14 position. A ranker poll also placed it at an impressive number 17 rank, proof indeed that Blowin' in the Wind will remain revered for many years to come. I Wanna Hold Your Hand, The Beatles. A renowned classic, I Wanna Hold Your Hand, is among many of the Beatles' top hit songs. Ranking 6th on Ranker and 16th on Rolling Stone's list, the single was released in 1963 and quickly peaked number 1 in the United States chart for 21 weeks. John Lennon recalled that he wrote the song with Paul McCartney, eyeball to eyeball, back then. "I remember when we got the chord that made the song," said Lennon nostalgically. This timeless love anthem still captivates listeners today as it did 6 decades ago. As we were jamming on the piano in Jane Asher's basement, Paul suddenly struck an enchanting chord that immediately caught my attention. I shouted with excitement, "That's it, do it again!" Back then, we could create beautiful music together so effortlessly, both of us feeding off each other, inspiring melodies. Johnny B. Goode, Chuck Berry. Rolling Stone acclaims Chuck Berry's 1958 anthem, Johnny B. Goode, as the first rock and roll tune about becoming a superstar, and also dubbing it the greatest track about fame in pop music that glorifies democracy. The popular, semi-autobiographical country tune about an uneducated country boy from the New Orleans area playing his guitar just like ringing a bell was eventually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999 for its immense impact on rock and roll. It reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, topped Rolling Stone's list as one of 100 greatest guitar songs of all time, and is highly favored by ranker voters at number 11. Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana. Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit stands out as the most iconic song of its generation. It clearly derives its title from a deodorant for teenage girls and takes on new meaning in relation to youth during the 90s. This powerful track was certified platinum, 1 million copies, by RIAA. Its sincere passion and poignancy thrust their album, Nevermind, atop charts at start 1992, enshrining it forever among rock music's classics. But the song put unwanted pressure. Frontman Kurt Cobain staunchly proclaimed that Smells Like Teen Spirit was among many of his other acclaimed works, with Rolling Stone ranking it at number 9 and ranker voters deeming it to be the 13th best song in the band. Good Vibrations, The Beach Boys. The Beach Boys' smash hit, Good Vibrations, was an unparalleled success in 1966, reaching the top of the charts in both America and Great Britain, as well as many other countries around the world. When the single was originally released, it was an unprecedentedly costly endeavor, with a studio bill of $50,000. Brian Wilson composed and produced the song with his lifelong fascination in cosmic vibrations at its core. This idea stemming from a childhood moment when his mother attempted to explain why dogs behave differently around certain people. "A dog can pick up vibrations from people that you cannot see but you can feel," Wilson said. His goal with the song was to create something better than "You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'." Rolling Stone and ranker both agree he achieved this, ranking Good Vibrations at number 6 and number 8, respectively. Yesterday, The Beatles. The ranker community and Rolling Stone both voted the Beatles' most acclaimed ballad as the 3rd best song of all time. Furthermore, it emerged in 3rd place on BMI's list of top 100 songs of the century and was ultimately chosen as the best song of the 20th century by a 1999 BBC Radio 2 poll that comprised music experts and fans alike. Paul McCartney's Yesterday stands alone as the only song of the Beatles to be composed and performed entirely by one member. While vacationing at his girlfriend Jane Asher's home, McCartney dreamt up this iconic melody, which became a smash hit despite the initial hesitation from his bandmates over its departure from their usual rock and roll style. Accompanied solely by a string quartet, Yesterday has been described as being amongst McCartney's most instinctive compositions yet. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, The Rolling Stones. When Rolling Stone magazine declared "I Can't Get No Satisfaction" the second best song of all time, the Rolling Stones scored their first US #1 hit. Despite its innuendos causing it to be shunned by many British radio stations at first, later on it still won the hearts and top charts in the UK, proving that great music truly has no boundaries. One night in 1965, while the Rolling Stones were on their third US tour and staying at a motel in Clearwater, Florida, Keith Richards was suddenly jolted awake by an unforgettable riff that had come to him during his sleep. In his groggy state, he grabbed his guitar and cassette machine just in time to record himself playing it once before falling back asleep. Audible on the tape is even him dropping the pick, followed immediately by snoring. According to Rolling Stone magazine, this snippet of sound would eventually become one of rock's most iconic riffs. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Hey Jude, the Beatles. With countless ranker voters crowning it as the greatest song of all time, Hey Jude by the Beatles lands a distinguished 8th place on Rolling Stone's list. Reaching #1 in several countries and being recognized as the UK, US, Australia, and Canada's best-selling single of 1968, there is no denying that this classic remains undiminished over time. Paul McCartney penned the emotionally driven song on his way to meet with Cynthia, Lennon's former spouse and father of their son Julian. He confessed that the opening lines were meant as a sign of encouragement for him, an assurance that everything will be all right. Despite what he was going through at such a young age, later on Paul decided to rename it from Jules to Jude, paying homage to Judd from the musical Oklahoma. Imagine John Lennon. There is no doubt that John Lennon's Imagine deserved the top spot. Ranking a close second by Ranker and third place by Rolling Stone, the song was first released in 1971 in the United States and 1975 in the UK, becoming Lennon's most successful solo single ever. BMI recognized Imagine as one of the most performed songs of the 20th century, inspiring covers from a variety of acclaimed artists such as Madonna, Stevie Wonder, Lady Gaga, and Elton John. Its popularity is further evidenced by its number 30 rank on RAAA's list of 365 songs of the century, in addition to being incorporated into New York City Times Square ball drops since 2005. Prior to his passing away, John Lennon noted that he drew lyrics and inspiration for the song from Yoko Ono, his wife at the time, which led her to be rightfully credited with co-writing Imagine in 2017.